Today we're breaking down one of the most explosive international controversies of 2026, the US intervention in Venezuela. What's really happening? Why is it happening now? And why is this a dangerous moment for American foreign policy? Venezuela has been in crisis for more than a decade. Economic collapse, massive migration, and political decay under Nicolas Maduro. The US has long criticized his government and imposed sanctions, which many experts say worsen Venezuelan suffering without producing democratic change. Under President Trump, those tensions sharply escalated. In late 2025, the US began a naval buildup in the Caribbean, launched maritime strikes on boats it alleged were drug traffickers, and even declared Venezuelan airspace closed, a move critics called a colonialist threat. In January 2026, the Trump White House escalated further. U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro during a controversial military operation. The administration claimed his arrest was tied to drug trafficking charges, but no congressional authorization for war powers was obtained. Trump publicly said the U.S. would run Venezuela until a transition could occur, essentially signaling American control over a sovereign nation. This is not merely rhetoric. The U.S. Senate recently blocked an effort to limit Trump's military authority in Venezuela, a stark example of unchecked executive power. If we're talking about America, let's talk oil. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves in the world. It's no surprise that control over that resource is central, not just humanitarian democracy promotion. Critics, including left parties globally, argue that U.S. action is about seizing oil reserves and economic leverage. The U.S. has seized multiple Venezuelan-linked oil tankers in the Caribbean, asserting a quarantine against sanctioned oil exports. This has raised alarms that the U.S. is using military force to dominate global energy markets instead of diplomacy. Latin American leaders are deeply divided. Some applaud weakening Maduro, but many condemn U.S. actions as illegal aggression and a repeat of historical imperialism. Global institutions and analysts warn that unilateral U.S. force undermines international law, potentially setting a dangerous precedent that makes the world less safe, not more secure. Even religious leaders in the U.S. have spoken out, saying this foreign policy risks global suffering and undermines moral leadership. Remember the humanitarian dimension. Over 7 million Venezuelans have fled their country since 2014 due to economic hardship and instability. With U.S. deportations now resuming and temporary protected status reserved, thousands of Venezuelans in the U.S. face forced return to instability just as U.S. militarized conflict worsens. So what do we make of all of this? The U.S. claims its actions are about security and democracy, but critics see a dangerous mix of power politics, resource grab, and executive overreach that could damage American credibility and global stability. So to you viewers, what do you think? Should the U.S. be involved in Venezuela at all? Let's talk in the comments. And if you want sources for further reading, I'll link them in the description below. Thank you so much for watching the Wisco Project, where you can get the most up-to-date information on politics in America and in Wisconsin. See you in the next video. Take care.